if you watch how it's grown, we could probably siphon the earnings off of it, or the contributions to that fund off, for more money than we need every year for roads.
Well,
And
so this
still
is
be
part of the problem with that.
solvent
It's
fund.
like anything else. Like when you are solvent, that's what happened with the teacher's retirement. We had a solvent funded pension program, and because it was solvent and we had extra money in there, we used it for other things, and now we don't have the money that we need. So there has not been, we've FOIA tried to get more information on MCCA and what is the insurance pool, who is in there currently, what are the projections to actuarials, and that we don't have public access to that. So I'm personally not interested in doing anything with that until it's a more transparent fund, because it is like a self-insurance fund. That's what it was set up to do, and I think you'd have to have legislation. So it would need to be a bipartisan effort to reevaluate whether or not there's enough money in it. To date, to my knowledge, there hasn't been the ability to open it up to really. I was chair of a workers' comp fund that represents all the municipalities around the state, and you need to. I mean, it's not, oh, we have a lot of money here, so we can just. Because it takes one catastrophic claim and then it be worth a lot of money. So you really need to, there's a lot of statistics around that, how to do that, and that's what actuarial studies would do, to help you determine whether or not there is in fact, but we haven't been able to get that information.
There has also been information out that they are trying to, and I don't know who the faction is, it's trying to eliminate the fund because they're advertising that see advertisements on TV that taxpayers or motorists would save $64 a year for 2 years, and then and they're talking about the rest of that fund going back to insurance companies.
Yeah, so the problem.
Don't want to see that.
Yeah, and the problem is, there's a problem with the transparency of that fund, and the other problem is those people that are using that money, it funds for their care. And they will end up going bankrupt, and then they will be end up taking state tax dollars to pay for their care. So one way or another, right now, if you can call it like it's a little tax on these people, this group of people that for their life will never be able to, survive.
I don't have an issue
so that's
with that
where the
at
challenge.
all.
Yeah.
I would just hate to see that fund dissolved and all of the riches
I don't
go
think
to the
anybody,
insurance companies.
My understanding, I don't see that happening at all.
Now,
But
is this the monies that is charged on your insurance policy, your auto policy, for the medical care, and now you're supposed to be able to deduct it on your
it's the MCCA. I don't know what it actually says on the policy.
Well, I know I was told this
It's
year
like
by the
100.
accountant that you can deduct it. Mine was $800 and some dollars.
No, this is $120. I want to say. I think it's about $120 per driver. And I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on
But I
the
think
actual
that's
code.
in with the rest of it, whatever the rest of it is, because I know mine was $800, and I kind of sat back and thought.
No, that's something different.
Okay, because I thought, my gosh, they're putting $800 a year or whatever, for medical coverage for me, and I have PLPD, and I'm going, that doesn't kind of make sense. But what I was told, it was because of the no fault that they had to charge that. So I'm not sure how it evolves in all of this.
Okay.
And I was told that
Yeah,
lower amount was part of that, and they weren't sure whether you could claim the whole thing or just that portion of it. And so when I asked the accountant said, no, you can take the whole thing. So it's a tax deduction.
What is actually going on with this no fault? I've heard some noises about something.
Well, it came out of the Senate pretty quickly, and it's sitting in the House. I'm not on the insurance committee, so there are big brains working on it in the insurance committee. And so if it hasn't come out of committee, it means they don't have an agreement on the Republican side. Because if I've learned anything in my 3 years in Lansing, it's if the Republicans have agreement, it goes very quickly. And there have been a lot of things that have gone more quickly than most of our public knows about, and it's going to be a little bit disconcerting. So I appreciate all of you your interest in being here and keeping an eye on things that are
One thing I do like about the
concerning.
no fault is that your insurance company basically takes care of you.
Right,
And unless there's some kind of personal injury.
right.
My name's Carl Ryan, and I'm an unemployed machinist for years and years. Been a laborer for years now. I guess I got Medicaid eligible, and just because I was getting introduced to the cancer doctor years ago, my voice is crap this morning. But, you know, I guess, you know, this system, this computerized system with no workers, you know, I had two little temp jobs last year, and I didn't tell my DHS caseworker, and then I got a letter about that, and I you know, ran down to Ypsilanti and you know, showed the big money I made. It was about, I don't even think I made $2,000 off these two little jobs, and then just recently my health insurance just gets canned, I guess, just whatever, you know, and I don't know, I'm just puzzled, but I guess I blame it on the Republicans. They're just for the rich, is the way I've always understood it. You know,
Well,
and it's just,
keep in touch with our office, and we'll do our best to help you get through. We have been having some challenges too, though, because they merged two departments, and even we're having where it used to be like we could really help somebody like right away. It's taking us a lot longer than it used to, also. So, I mean, I agree with you with what you guys were saying. That is very challenging when the services that are supposed to be helping you are just getting shrink more and more, and you can't get the
And the letters are
information
very
that you need.
intimidating. You know, you'll say, and you haven't been approved for this yet. So if you go for a service, please be aware that this may be at your cost.
Right.
I mean, that's,
I'm no accountant, and that's just my you know, no accountant life. You know, I hear these a trade deficit of, you know, billions and billions of dollars with China or the rest of the world, and it says all this money going across the border that way, and you know how much money is coming back this way across the border. You know, it just my, and I anticipate it just can't be good for us. It seems, you know, and I just, you know, puzzled as my political thing goes. You know, I guess I've always, geez, finding real job's been a mystery since I was laid off in the first work day of the 2000 when all the computers were going to break. I go to work on Jackson Avenue. Mr. Kochmeyer says you're a real good worker, but I got cash flow problems, and I got to lay you off. Man. You know, they've since I guess they're Japanese merged with somebody.
What's your what do you do?
I've done machinist work for, you know, 20 years, 30 years, and mechanical stuff for years. I don't have a journeyman's card. I've done car work for plenty, but I just on my own stuff.
Do you live in the Whitmore Lake?
Yeah, I live up the road here. I grew up on this side of Ann Arbor.
Because I know there's a company in Manchester that's doing some hiring.
That's just way over there.
Too far?
It's a dumb drive to get.
it's 12 in the wintertime.
I actually worked till 1 o'clock last night. This funny job in Howell, this inspection service thing that I do. Third-party inspection service, and somehow it always seems to be related with Chrysler, which is another nonsense. I hope I guess I was working on Jackson Avenue at Zeeb Road, and the day that they say the courts approved the Chrysler-Daimler-Benz merger, I see a Daimler-Benz semi-truck painted and going down the road, and I'm going,
Wow.
what's the truth here? I don't quite understand. You know, just that one political thing from 15 years ago, and then. More recently, you know, they say Detroit City is out of bankruptcy, and then they say the public schools, you know, $50-60 million in debt. You know, like
Well, the city
what
budget
is the
and the
truth?
school budget are separate. They're
Yeah,
two separate
I
budgets.
just,
Just like Whitmore Lake, there's two
I have a
separate budgets.
question about school. Okay, obviously you're aware that we had a big problem here, I started with schools and stuff. And I was kind of involved in that a little bit.
Thanks for coming.
I want to
Did
know
you sign
about-
in?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
I want to know, and I believe it was called Proposal A, way back in the day, it was approved for schools, where they figured out how much per child would be paid. And they decided, from my understanding, that the richer communities would get more money, and the poorer communities for their children would get less money. So let's say Ann Arbor, which I consider a richer community, would get $2,000 per child.
Well,
Whitmore Lake would get $800.
So
That
what?
does not make sense to me.
So what they were trying to do, but Proposal A, so the problem is Proposal A was built based on a growth economy. So if you have a growing economy and increasing revenues, Proposal A works. But when everything shrunk and our revenues went down in communities, we have a problem now. So, but basically the whole goal of Proposal A was to equalize school funding by pupil. So there were already, because it was all local revenue and it was based on property taxes, and richer communities had higher property tax revenue than
They can all go to school.
well, actually, what right now the per pupil foundation allowance like here in Whitmore Lake is $7,000. For Ann Arbor schools, it's about 7,800. So it is a lot closer than it used to be. There used to be a disparity of like, I think it was like 4,000 to like 12,000. So it's really equalized. And then on top of that, there is what they call a hold harmless, which allows like an Ann Arbor school district that has more money to put more money into their programs.
At their wish.
Right.
Okay.
It's their cost.
Right,
So-
because it's costing them. But the other thing was the judgment on our school. I don't know if people know. We have a very high number of at-risk children or mentally challenged children. Let's put it that way. And they are judged in their accomplishment the same way an average child would be judged, which does not seem correct to me, because they're not. So if you're going to say, well, Whitmore Lake has got 45% failing kids because they're not meeting this criteria, or Ann Arbor, who has much more affluent, probably better educated kids, not that they don't have mentally challenged children too, but not in the numbers that we have here. It would seem to me that they would say mentally challenged children should be able to reach this level, and normal children should be able to reach this level to more fairly judge the monies and things that are going to go to communities.
Yeah, I don't know how that. I could look into
And of
that.
course, there's problems with standardized testing too.
Well, yeah, and that's true too, but
That's the whole thing.
that really flunked us. I mean, I talked with a couple of the teachers, and they said there's just no way, because we're looking, I think, at like about 60-65% challenged children in our school system. Yeah. So,
You know what? As a person who has two sisters who are in special ed, work with special ed kids, accommodations are made. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
I
gotta look
can't give
into
you specifics, but the information you're getting, I'm wondering. I'm not saying I doubt you, but I'm questioning where you're getting it. Because there's
I'm getting it from the teachers. The teachers
they're
say
saying you're still expected.
That's fine.
We're very into the
because
initial
they're
scene
saying
the
the
state.
Okay.
not meeting Vermont. They should be meeting
Okay.
When's the time to come? More prepared to
Well, it's like
Okay.
So that's not right.
that's that whole
Okay. So, sorry. I'm sorry.
I get now.
I already know what you're talking about. I had to make a website and it was the most.
My
I'd rather have gone to the dentist than try to make another website.
Oh, that creep. Taking a picture of my license plate? Really? Oh yeah, that's gonna get you off, pal. That's gonna get you off. What are you gonna do? Find me? Leave it, come on.